My name is Shelly Harrison, and you're listening to Speaker Central. On this episode, we discuss VA loans and helping veterans with homeownership solutions. Our special guests today are Dan Leonard and Chenine Lozano from the Endeavor Mortgage Group. Thank you for joining us today on this episode of Speaker Central. I'm your host, Shelly Harrison, and I would like to thank our podcast sponsor, Sadat and Associates, which is Mary Sadat. Our conversation today is VA loan programs for veterans. So we're excited to just give this information to all of the veterans out there who are looking for resources such as this. Today, I want to welcome our guests and our collaborative partners, Dan Leonard, and also Chenine Lozano from Endeavor Mortgage. So welcome.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. And I just want to give a shout out. I know you both have been wonderful collaborative partners with the Veterans Chamber of Commerce. I'm connected with the Veterans Chamber of Commerce, and I think that's pretty much how our relationship started. And I'm really excited to see where it goes. What I'd like to do is get started. If I may, Dan, I'd like to just have you tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Dan Leonard. I'm the Vice President with Endeavor Mortgage Group. I've been doing mortgages for approximately 15 years now. Prior to that, I was a financial planner. And so it kind of brings a unique background to the mortgage business, maybe a little bit different than most people that I had that financial planning background prior to doing this.
Very good. Thank you. Thanks, Dan. And Chenine, how about you? Tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Chenine Lozano. I'm a mortgage broker and loan originator with Dan Leonard. I'm his business partner. And my background is interesting. I started in finance straight out of high school. Loved it, and then went into multimedia journalism. So I did that for 10 years as well and returned to finance, which I'm very, very happy to do. So I've been with the brokerage 2 years now, which has been fantastic, coming from a credit union and big banks. And I mentioned my multimedia background because I find that it's been very beneficial to have this background to be able to take complex ideas and simplify it, like how you do in broadcast journalism, and to be able to communicate to clients in a way that they understand, in addition to be able to promote and get the message out through video and things like this, podcasts.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. So we'll have to connect because you've got probably some tips and tools that you can help me with.
I can help. Yes.
Yeah. No, that's great. Well, thank you, Chenine. Thank you, Dan. Well, I'm going to get right into the questions. Dan, tell us about the Endeavor Mortgage Group and your unique team that you've assembled.
Yeah, so Endeavor Mortgage Group, we're a California mortgage brokerage. We've been around for approximately 20 years. I've been with the company now close to 15. And we specialize in basically all types of residential and commercial home loans, not just VA, but we do all different types. Our unique team dynamic is basically the senior management team. We have about 25 employees total. But the senior management team have all known each other pretty much since high school, to be honest. We all
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we all pretty much grew up together.
Yeah.
And we've enjoyed working together. So it's a lot of fun in that regard. We all, on my specific team, I'm the vice president. On my specific team, like Chenine said, she's my business partner. And we have a couple of other processing staff that work with us, Melissa Standering being our senior processor. So the three of us pretty much work through the majority of the loans and then add in help as we need from the rest of the team.
Yeah. And I've seen the dynamic between, just the two of you and your whole team. I've been there on site and very impressed. It's kind of like a one-stop shop for all of your commercial and residential needs. Yeah.
It's important it was very important to us to be able to do that.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and it works. Definitely it works. All right. So Chenine,
Yes.
when we first met, I know, I think it was one of the master's luncheons, and you had shared with me after we kind of talked about the veterans program that this was something that was in your business plan. Tell us about that for
Yes.
2020.
For 2020, yes. I
Yeah.
thought it was really interesting. I'm like, wow, this was in my business plan and it came to fruition. I love veterans, and because my family, I have both sides of my family have veterans in the Army and in the Marines. And so
Oh, thank you for their
it's near and dear to my
service.
heart. I remember when my uncle was deployed and when he came back. And so I just remember the sacrifices that we had to make, as a family, missing him, but him being out there and making sure that he came home, So
Right.
I really just enjoy being able to help to serve those who have served the country. And I've had the opportunity to work with more and more veterans because I work with a lot of police officers that are also veterans. And so I found that I became more and more well-versed with VA loans and its benefits. And I just wanted to focus on being able to grow that aspect of my business because it just feels amazing to serve veterans in that aspect.
Yes. And I'm excited to really get into it because I think this is going to be a great video for, veterans where they can really absorb what those benefits are for, doing a VA loan.
Definitely.
So for homeownership. Yeah. Dan, tell us, as far as Endeavor Mortgage, what is it best known for?
I would like to say that the things that we're most known for are, first and foremost, we like to pride ourselves on our integrity. So it's always trying to do the right thing by the client. And one of the ways that we've done that is, like we talked about earlier, becoming that one-stop shop where we have the flexibility to offer all of the products to clients. A lot of times when clients will go to a lender, they're limited in the product space that lender may have. And so I know we're kind of focusing on VA loans, but there are some opportunities, even for veterans, where it might benefit them to use a different program. And so we do offer all of the different programs that are out there. But really, the first and foremost, it's being of service, and integrity is the way our company is primarily built on. We really want to make sure that we're always putting the client's best interest. We're asking questions of the clients to make sure that they have considered all the options that are available to them, and that they choose the right one.
Yes, no, that's great. And can you kind of give us an overview of what the VA program is?
Yeah, so VA is the best loan program, quite frankly, out there. And rightfully so, because it's geared towards people who have been of service to our country.
Right.
And rightfully so, they deserve the most lenient programs to allow them to qualify, and the best rates and things like that. So so as a brief overview, they basically are allowed to put the least money down, in some cases no money down, to buy a home. They're allowed, they carry the best rates, typically of any of the programs. There's no things like mortgage insurance and things like that we can get into, but it's simply by far the best loan program that exists in purchasing a home, and or if you want to get cash out of your home or things like that. It's just the most lenient and the best program out there.
Yeah, no, thank you for that overview. And I think those are some great, as far as zero down, and in some cases no money down, and the benefits that the veterans can take advantage of, and maybe there's ways to get this program out to veterans too. And I think this is one of the ways to do it, is by having experts like the two of you, being lenders and brokers, to be able to provide this information.
And we really want to be available for the person's unique scenario. So what we really want to do is give a brief overview, but we really want to encourage people to use us as a resource to reach out to, so that we can assess the current exact situation, and that they can use the knowledge that we've accumulated to help them kind of make decisions on what is best for them. Really, that's really what we're here to do.
Oh, and that's a great way to serve our veterans too, right? To help
Absolutely.
them with that kind of information. Chenine, tell us how you work with realtors, and what's important to you when realtors handle loans for our veterans.
So I, just like what Dan was saying, is I love working with realtors as a resource. I definitely come with the approach that we're all on the same team,
Mm-hmm.
and that we will go down the path that best serves the veteran.
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, because we have so many different loan types, sometimes a veteran would actually benefit from a different loan type, and so we'll
Yeah.
explore that. When real estate agents are going to go home shopping with a veteran, I definitely like to be involved with, the pre-approval process, and make
Mm-hmm.
sure that they don't go over and above what we had discussed, because there are different loan limits for different counties.
Uh-huh.
And so the veteran may have to bring in more money than they expected, if that is not observed. So
Yeah.
definitely just love to just be available for resources, beforehand from start to finish. We have a very high closing ratio. We don't go down a path if we don't know that we could close it. So definitely just like to work side by side with the real estate agent, and just love to be treated on the same team. And we also attract agents that have that mentality as well, where we're partners and all have the same common goal.
That's great. That yeah, I love hearing that.
Mm-hmm.
As far as what goes through your mind when you're funding a loan for a new homeowner, Chenine?
Oh my gosh, it is the best feeling in the world. It's really, really rewarding. I this ties into my personal story, where I had a bad experience buying my home, both with the real estate agent and also with my loan officer. And it was in 2006, the worst time ever. There was no transparency. It was the Wild West. There was no rules. And I literally backed into a corner, and anything that bad or shady could have happened did. And so for me, number one, being a part of somebody's milestone, being a small part of a huge change is just a huge blessing. Number two is just to know that I'm that person that creates confidence, transparency, and clarity moving forward, because there's so many, language that you may have never heard before, and you kind of like, oh, what am I signing? What does this mean? And so I have a ton of patience. And so what goes through my mind is be that person, be that rock, be available, answer the question, what they're asking, speak in a language that they understand. And that way I just create that confidence for the client during that time. It amazes me. And Dan and I have such good relationships with our clients. Like we'll both get text messages and thank you cards. Like, hey, look at our dogs running through our new yard, and we had a baby.
Wow.
We get updates like that all the time.
Isn't that exciting though?
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, that's when you know, that's when you know that you've really created a client for life.
Definitely.
I would think.
So Dan and I have the same approach, and creating a relationship and just always doing its best.
Yeah. Oh, that is fantastic. And now how about you, Dan, when you actually give those well, I know the realtor typically would give the keys, but once you fund that loan, what goes through your mind after you, let's say if it's a veteran or, a family?
It's the gratification for them that they've hit that milestone. When I talk with people about purchasing a home, a lot of times people will come to me with a payment number or with like a financial, like they'll analyze it from a very financial transaction. I try to me, buying a home is much more than just the financial aspect. It's truly where you're going to build your family and where you're going to spend a good portion of your time. And I try to get people to look at it from that perspective. Really, I try to approach things from that perspective. So when you see the smiles on somebody's face because they've now, they've taken that next step in their lives into home ownership, and it's so much more than just the financial transaction that some mortgage people treat it as. It's super gratifying for me. It's the most rewarding experience you can.
Oh yeah. And I can tell that you both have integrity. I had an experience, and I think I shared with both of you, where I was in the lending business for a while, on the mortgage side. And I had, I was probably 2 or 3 months into my career there, and I had someone tell me, fake it until you make it. And I thought, no, I'm not that kind of person. And, and that's unfortunate that there are still some people out there that, you really question their integrity. But I know that go ahead, Dan.
No, I was just going to say that a lot of times they don't. What I see in the mortgage business a lot of times is that it's not just, you've got some unscrupulous people that take advantage, but you also
Yeah.
have a lot of people that don't necessarily know all the guidelines and know all the information. And that can be just as damaging, because you get into a process and the person hasn't intentionally done anything wrong. But if they don't know all the little nuances to the system and the programs, it can really create issues as you get into the process. And
Right.
the last thing you want to do is be ready to move into your new home, and then there's a snag that you didn't foresee.
Yeah, no, that's true. Very true. As far as I know that there is a program, and it's, and I'm not sure if you're wanting to go this route. As far as the conversion in the garage, where do you want to kind of talk about that program a little bit?
Yeah. So there's so California, because there's a housing shortage, has relaxed the rules around converting your garage into like an apartment, or what they call an accessory dwelling unit is the technical term. But it's basically so it's always kind of been allowed, but it was really difficult to get the permits and to get it built. Well, basically what happened in California is they came in and said, no, we need people to build these. We need we need more homes for people to live in. And so that has taken on kind of it comes along at a time when it's very, very needed.
Yeah.
And it fits right in with some of the things that veterans are doing for other veterans, or and I think we'll go into that, but I think it really does fit right in with the potential of how veterans can help other veterans.
Yes. Oh, I agree. And I met the gentleman, Cameron, who is in your office, and we had a really good conversation about that program.
Yeah. So they run a company called ADU West, which is a business affiliate of ours. And so we actually have a referral partnership with a group that can actually build the accessory dwelling units, right in our office. The broker of Endeavor, my friend Ron, is also the main principal in the ADU West company. So, it's a nice affiliate to be able to potentially, come up with a loan program that would help them get the money, and then also have them potentially have somebody that can actually.
Oh yeah, especially like you pointed out, there is a need. There's a lot of veterans. I think that there's homelessness, and there's a lot of opportunity where they can be supported and helped. And and I think too, with the Housing for Heroes program, which we haven't really touched on, and that's through the Veterans Chamber of Commerce, where they've created a program, and the executive director, Joseph Molina. I know that we're happy to have you on the program now with with Endeavor Mortgage. That program, where it's going to be available for really every veteran, and working with brokers like yourself, and then assembling a team of realtors who could be certified to handle these these transactions. So can you tell us a little bit about that? And Chenine, I'm going to get your input too on that.
Yeah, we're really excited to be a part of that. Joe Molina has done a very good job in putting that together. So basically, it's a veterans helping veterans type program, as I see it. It's a way for a veteran homeowner to convert or build an accessory dwelling unit, which we touched on, and then house another veteran. And it's a win-win for both parties, and we're super excited to just be involved in that. And we have a lot of resources between the lending side and between the AD, the people who could actually construct the ADUs for veterans.
Right.
Yeah. And so we really are just excited to be of service to that program, because what better way than to see one veteran build an ADU, and have another veteran move into the place while collecting, and the homeowner actually gets some income from it. So it's just a great program all the way around.
Oh, I agree. And Chenine, do you have any kind of insight on that, the Housing for Heroes program?
We're really excited to be a partner with it, because as we'd mentioned earlier, that Endeavor Mortgage we've created a really wonderful group of people and resources. So being a one-stop shop, in essence, where we're allowed to give a veteran a cash out refinance to have money be available to them to build the accessory dwelling unit, as well as the team to build it. So it's a really simple process. Instead of trying to figure out how to get from A to Z, you connect with us and we seamlessly bring you there. And that's really exciting. On top of that, I'm excited to do things like this or any type of marketing pieces that will help get the word out for the veterans, so they know that it's even available for them. So a veteran that may have a garage that they're not using or is currently a tool shed, why not make income from it and then house veterans? So we're just really into, especially Dan is huge into creating win-win relationships. And so we just really like to create the ease for veterans to get them to that point. So we're really excited. And as well as getting realtors to become certified as well. We have a wonderful culture of people that we work with. And so as we start to dive more into this program, I'm really happy to bring more people, real estate agents in particular, to help get the word out and just create a bigger buzz for the program.
And that is fantastic. And I've made a note too that I'll talk with Joe in regards to just the dynamic of the whole program and you wanting to do some of the marketing where we could probably reach out to a lot of veterans. So, for the ADU program. Yeah. And I kind of wanted to circle back, Dan. I know that you touched on the qualifications a little bit, and I know that there were some changes in January that that you wanted to kind of share. So can you kind of share those with us?
Sure. So a couple things. So qualifying for a VA home loan, if a veteran has 2 years of active service or 6 years of being in the reserves, they qualify for VA. There are a lot of qualifying events that could happen based on when you served and where you could be eligible if you were less than those timeframes. But those are the maximum timeframes that you need to be have served for qualifying for VA. So I thought I'd get that out there in case people had questions on like how much service do I have to have in order to qualify for the program. And then a couple of things that have changed as far as the guidelines go. So we touched a little bit on no down payment potential. That used to be limited to a county loan limit. So like each county had its own loan limit that you were allowed to borrow. If you have, if a client has good credit and they meet the qualifications, they have what they call a full entitlement. They're now able to buy any size loan with a VA loan with no money down, which is truly amazing. So
that is.
If somebody wants to buy $1 million home, and they have excellent credit and they meet all the criteria, the full entitlement and everything, they can actually buy that home with no down payment. They might have to pay something for the closing costs or whatever, but to be able to do that, and that just changed in January. So before that, the clients, if they wanted to go that high on their loan amount, had to put in quite a bit more money, some more money, I should say. And so that's a huge deal. That was a huge change because you might have some veterans that that might want to buy $1.5 million home, and it's a lot less money down than what they used to have to put down. And so that's one. They have more access than any other program to pull out equity from their home. So most loan programs allow you to go up to 80% of the value of your home to get cash. VA program now goes up to 90% for that.
Yeah, and that could be significant.
Well, especially when you're talking about things like building the accessory dwelling unit, if they wanted to refinance to a lower rate, get the cash to build the accessory dwelling unit, and then be able to rent that out and collect the income. What a great way to be able to do it. So because they have that extra equity component that they can pull to get the money to build the accessory.
Yes,
and the last thing is, like I touched on a little bit briefly, but there's no, if people have ever heard of PMI or mortgage insurance, there's no mortgage insurance or PMI on any VA program, which also makes it more attractive than FHA or even Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac at times.
Oh yeah, so that's a huge monthly savings. Huge monthly savings.
The difference like on an FHA loan, take a $500,000 loan, you're probably looking at anywhere between $300 and $400 in monthly mortgage insurance that you.
Which could be a lot for a family, where they could use that money in other, in other areas to support their family.
That's right.
Absolutely. So with Endeavor Mortgage, I know that the new partnership that that we're building with the Housing for Heroes. What kind of ideas or thoughts do you have? Chenine, I'm going to come to you first. So, what kind of thoughts and ideas do you have that that you can envision that's in 2020 with this program and Endeavor Mortgage?
Well, because the laws are favorable for building accessory dwelling units right now, I feel that we're in a really favorable time to do that. Even with everything going on in the world right now, there's still a lot of activity and the home values are still retaining. So I see 2020 shaking out as a really good year to start the process of at least getting the funds available and the ADU starting to build and creating additional income for veterans and more places for them to stay to help solve problems of homelessness. So I really envision it being a program that will grow and be very fruitful for the veterans that are able to capitalize on it. Another part of my vision is just being able to do things just like this and let more people know about it.
Yeah. And getting the word and the awareness out there. Yeah.
Right.
That's why I'm so happy that we're having this conversation. Absolutely. Yeah. And Dan, did you want to add anything to that?
I think for us, it's I think she touched a lot on the Housing for Heroes program, which I think is phenomenal, but really there's so many different ways that we can help homeowners and potential homeowners. And so I just encourage people to use this as a resource. There's no obligation to do business with us, but we really want to be able to provide the service of just, having knowledge, having done this a long time and making sure that we can, if people have questions, we really want them to be able to come to us and answer those questions. And what I've learned after doing this for 15 years, the questions are run a huge gamut. They're not, there's a lot of different things that I know about. And so we just really want people to feel free to reach out to us with any questions or concerns or whatever that they may have, so we can help assist.
Yeah, no, and that's great. And I think, just for veterans that are looking for information, what is the best way that they could reach out to you?
So they can either contact myself or Chenine. I'll let Chenine give her contact. I know she's kind of the things are kind of filtering in through her mainly, so I'll let her give the contact. But just basically either email, phone, whatever's easiest for them, they can reach out to us, and I'll let Chenine kind of impart the contact.
Very good. And actually, we're going to have the contact information at the end of this video. So, certainly if you wanted to add anything, Chenine, we'll make sure that the information is there so that veterans, realtors, whoever is interested in getting more information can reach out.
Yes, I definitely would love to add. I love working with Dan in the sense that he not only has a lot of integrity and background in financial advising. What I've learned a lot from Dan is seeing a holistic approach in regards to looking at long-term and short-term. And that does matter when deciding what and when to use a VA loan because of a VA funding fee, when it can or cannot be waived, things of that nature. So definitely talk to us, just like you said, as a resource. And feel free to ask us about the next step as well. If someone's looking to maybe get into, a multifamily or something like that. We love to just strategize for both short-term and long-term. And I really think that definitely sets us apart, where we look at how maybe refinance may impact their ability to cash out in the future, or their next step when they sell. So we ask those type of questions, but a lot of times, sometimes we don't know to ask those questions unless we know what the goal is, in the future.
Right.
So feel free to ask us any scenarios. It doesn't matter if you're ready to do something now or in the future. We're happy to help whatever process that you're at, both if you're already a homeowner or looking to buy for the first time. I really like when people don't realize that they are eligible to buy.
Right.
And, they're an escrow. So
yeah,
I have a single dad
exciting.
who got a VA loan. And it was, sent him Christmas card and everything's going really well. But from bringing a veteran to, I don't know if I qualify, to signing papers is incredible. So feel free to use this as a resource. Yeah, definitely. And so my information, I'm happy to give it to you. So
sure.
My number is 562-762-7511. And my email is clozano, so that's CLOZANO at Endeavor, ENDEAVORMG.com. Whatever you'd like to do, email or call, I'm happy to help either way. Every loan that comes through me also gets worked on with Dan. So you have the twofer, you have the both of us working on the loan scenario, which is very powerful. And so definitely know you'll be really well taken care of. We're happy to answer questions anytime.
Oh, that's great, Chenine. And I know that you're both very invested in just providing, serving, and, the integrity is very high. And I appreciate that. And I'm so glad that I get to interview you both, because I know you, I've seen you in action. I've seen you, in the office, and I really commend you both for the work that you're doing. And I know it's tough times, and it's tough times for a lot of homeowners and people that are looking to buy, and veterans. So let's get this video out so that veterans can, get in contact with you. And, we can't talk about all the nuances and everything, all the qualifications on this one call, but there are resources. Both Dan and Chenine are both wonderful resources. So that's where you should start, right?
Exactly.
The two of you. Yeah. And then kind of in closing, is there anything, Dan, that you'd like to mention or talk about briefly?
Just really briefly, I know you touched on, obviously we're in different times today than we've ever seen. And so I just want to touch base that, loans are still going on. People are still, the lenders are still lending. VA, being a government-backed program, will be in existence as long as the government is lending money. So it is one of we have seen some other loan programs modified dramatically or go away, but the VA program has relatively remained the same through this whole time, and so it is, in addition to being the most lenient, it's also the most stable because it's offered directly by the U.S. government.
No, that is fantastic. And again, we're going to provide your contact information. People can contact, Chenine, Dan, and I think that, if I have any inquiries, I'm going to direct them over to both of you. And from here, I just want to say thank you both so very much for being on the show. This episode will be available tomorrow. So hopefully we can, get it out there as soon as possible so that people can listen in and learn a little bit more and get started, right?
Thank you for having us.
Oh, thank you, Chenine. Thank you, Dan. And thank you to our listeners and followers. We'll see you next week. Thank you.